Good afternoon and welcome everyone to this very special interview organized by the ECE department at IIIT Delhi. I'm your host Abhishek Goyal, third year ECE undergraduate with my co-host Rakesh Kumar, second year ECE undergraduate. Today we are joined by Dr. Sumit J Darak, associate professor in the ECE department, and one of his PhD students, Dr. Himani Joshi, who is currently placed as senior manager at HFCL Ltd. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am. Can you both kindly introduce yourself?
So I am Sumit Darak. So I did my B.tech undergraduate engineering from Pune University and then the PhD from NTU Singapore. So after a couple of years of postdoc, I'm working at IIIT Delhi since 2015. At IIIT Delhi, I have my lab in the algorithms to architecture, where we worked on the reconfigurable and intelligent architectures for wireless and the signal processing algorithms. In terms of the teaching, I mainly cover the embedded courses, and also I'm involved in the academic departments for various policies and the rules as a UG chair. So over to you, Himani.
Okay, so thank you, Abhishek, for the introduction. So, about myself, I have done my B.tech from IP University and I've done my master's and PhD at IIIT Delhi, Okla. So, Sumit sir was my mentor in my master's as well as in PhD. And the topic of my PhD was reconfigurable and intelligent wideband spectrum characterization at Sub-Nyquist sampling. So during my PhD, I have done two internships at the University of Luxembourg and at VVDN Technologies. So VVDN Technologies, I worked in the 5G area, and now I'm working as a senior manager, as you mentioned, in HFCL Limited. So there also I'm working on the file layer and some part on the RF chain. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Yeah.
Dr. Himani, to begin with, huge congratulations on being conferred with the Best Thesis Award by CompsNets and the grant you received. What was your feeling when the announcement was made? And if you don't mind us asking, where and how the grant will be used?
So I felt great. Of course, I felt great when I heard the news. And it's not only my achievement, it's of course Sumit's side. It was not possible without sir. So I don't know where I'll use the grant. It's still in my bank account. I don't know. I have not decided it yet.
So, congratulations to you. That one of your students received the Best Thesis Award speak volume of your efforts and dedication to carrying out quality research and bringing out the best of your students. What was your reaction when you got to know of the recognition won by Dr. Himani?
Yeah, so in this award, it is like the nomination goes from the your thesis advisor, and then there is a committee, and then they take their own time to give the award. So it was a long process. We had to prepare submit a form and all. So getting the award is always a big achievement. As you graduate a PhD student after 4 to 5 years of work, and then getting the recognition at the national level is always a good achievement. It's a big achievement, and it's always a motivation for the other students in the lab to continue the same work. Also, for any award, you need a bit of luck as well, because we have faced a lot of rejection in the early part of our PhD. So always at the end of the PhD, when you submit a thesis, when you defend the thesis and you get such award, that's always a big achievement. And regarding the money, I think Himani already promised us to big treat, and so we are still waiting for that.
Sure, sir, sure.
So, ma'am, let us start from the beginning. How and where did your journey begin?
Okay, so for my journey, like it started with Sumit sir. Actually, it started from my master's. So earlier, I was not clear like whether do I have to go to industry or to research. I did my master's with Sumit sir. I liked the work I did, so it was good. So I then pursued my PhD because and yeah, during the PhD, one of my major concern was to get the practical hands on on the hardware as well. So I requested sir, like I want to do PhD, but I also want to do hands-on, experience, hands-on on the work. Apart from that, I also requested that I want to have some industrial experience as well, like internship or no, in terms of internship. So sir, even sir promoted me to go for like internship, like the VVDN internship. I got it from sir's collaboration. So that's how it started, and it carry on like completely with the support of sir. If I'll talk about both my internships, so it was like the collaboration of sir. I think sir was the one who came up with the concept of ORF fellowship, right? So I was having the external funding. So for the external funding, what support I'll get from the institution in terms of like funding and all. So there was a provision made to go and do internship, and you will get fellowship from institute as well. So that was very big thing. Yeah.
Great. So your journey at IIIT Delhi started to around the same time Dr. Himani joined. How well has it been in your opinion? Any memoirs you would like to share with us?
Himani was one of the first MTech students. She joined after immediately, I think 6 months after I joined IIIT Delhi. So again, when you have the first MTech, first thesis student, you also make sure that the students works hard, and you also work with her. So make sure that the thesis is successful. So it was a quite a good journey. And then I think Himani came out with her own PhD fellowship. So that's as a PhD student, it's a big achievement, because when you come up with your own fellowship, you are funding yourself for the 4 years. So for me, it was I felt a bit more lucky that to have the Himani in my lab, and it was a great start for me as well. Uh, so working with me is always a challenges, because I usually express my opinion in sometimes strong word. But with Himani, I think is it was always a more of a learning coming from her, because she is technically quite strong, especially in the signal processing. So for me, it was always a learning from her, and she was always ahead of me. So usually whatever our requirement for the publication and all, she used to be mostly on the time. So it was always a great working with her. And now, last 1.5 years, when she stopped working with me, and I'm struggling to now complete my work on time. So that's what I'm now learning to work on my own. So with the PhD, once you get a PhD student who can take care of the not only her their own work, but also keeping the lab environment happy, making sure that everyone is getting good mentorship. I think that helps a lot as a faculty also.
Great, sir. That is so heartwarming to hear from you.
Ma'am,
Okay.
as you did your master's in communication and signal processing, can you briefly take us through that domain? And also, could you talk about some of the opportunities present in that domain?
So, like I'll say it's a very good domain. I like it. I loved it. So there are actually very less people who go for the wireless communication. So many people go for VLSI area, and some others goes are right now these days are going to the deep learning part, artificial intelligence. So there are very less people who are working in the communication, which has very good opportunity, right? So it's not over, it's like 5G is coming. If I talk about only in the telecom mobile communication, so 5G is coming. We have the radar communication, we have communication in medical field as well, which is very upcoming. So these things keeps you motivated. So, and one main thing is like maybe now in our institution we don't even have the platform where we tell the students like where communication is growing. So we should have something like that as well. So that could be like motivation to students, like okay, come in communication, because I don't see much people who are new students who are joining like wireless communication as a PhD or the master's topic. So all are either in the reinforcement learning or in the VLSI area. that is for the ECE students. There is various opportunities, like with 5G there is a boom. The companies who stopped working on 5G area, they started their R&D labs in 5G. So even in my company, so it is very new. So the 5G business unit started last year only. And even I can say in TCS also, now they are like focusing on the 5G communication, like the research is going on.
Dr. Himani, your expertise lies in wireless communication, and Dr. Sumit, you have been teaching courses on digital VLSI design for the last few years. Two completely different fields, yet you became her supervisor. How did this happen, and how did you to decide on what topic will your thesis be based on?
Okay. So when I joined IIIT Delhi, I think I taught the few wireless courses also. I taught the GICT course for a couple of years, which is the Green Information Communication Technology. Then I also took some labs on the DSPs and other courses. So usually I consider the teaching and the research as the two different ones. Teaching is that where we need to have the courses where you can build the skill set of the student without looking into the research problem as such. And then that's how I plan my courses. And that's why I'm more into the VLSI domain, mostly in the embedded system, where I have the flexibility to have the good balance between the theory and the experimental part. And regarding the other part, like wireless domain, so my most of the research work is in the design of the reconfigurable and the intelligent architecture for the wireless and communication algorithm. So wireless part is there, but the focus is on how to develop the algorithms. But these algorithms should work on the hardware. So when you need to develop the algorithms, if you don't have the understanding about the hardware part, then most of the times your algorithm will be very good, but it may not work well or it may not be feasible on the hardware. So that's how the teaching part helps me to make sure that the research is more feasible and impactful. And that's how I try to praise that even in the my courses, I try to keep the uh, projects which are related to my research domain so that I get the motivated B.tech and the PhD students who can come and help my PhD student. And since now from after that, after 2-3 years, now I'm stuck in the embedded system domain because no other faculty also is there. So I'm just waiting for someone new faculty to join so that I can offer the wireless courses and try to see how it goes further.
Your thesis, Intelligent and Reconfigurable Ultra-Wideband Spectrum Characterization at Sub-Nyquist Rate, sounds very interesting. So, could you take us briefly through your research? Also, what were the challenges you faced during this research?
So my topic, as you said, that is on the intelligent and reconfigurable wideband spectrum characterization at Sub-Nyquist Rate. So as you know, I'll talk about first spectrum first. So in this spectrum, it's very dynamic. Its characteristics changes like geographically and in time horizon. Okay, so we want our the entire system that can adapt according to the spectrum, and not only the spectrum, according to channel as well. Okay, so in my case, this intelligence is coming by telling which bands we should focus on. Okay, and the reconfigurability is coming because it is taking care of like the spectrum environment is changing. Okay, like the occupancy, like some bands are occupied, some bands are less occupied. In, for example, like if you see in the geography, some area has higher transmission rate, so the particular sets of bands are more occupied, and some bands are less occupied. So similarly happens in the time horizon also. So because of that, we need to have a system reconfigurable also. Like, okay, now coming to the wideband characterization part, here we need to determine various parameters of the spectrum, like modulation schemes. Actually, I have determined the modulation scheme, carrier frequency of the occupied band or vacant band, and one direction of arrival of the vacant or occupied bands, which is one of the main thing we need to know in case of the 5G, because we have the beam forming. So we need to know from which direction the signal is the user is present, so that we can do the transmission only in that particular direction. So there are various parameters that we need to know. But as I said, the spectrum is not always occupied. So it is possible to do the sampling at lower than the conventional rate. So as you all are ECE students, so I believe you know there is an Nyquist theorem, right, which says that you need to do the sampling at twice the maximum frequency. Okay, but as the spectrum is not fully occupied, so we can do the sampling at much lower rate. Okay, so that was the main crux. Like we have done the spectrum characterization at lower than the Nyquist rate. Yeah, so and the challenges, yeah, every day is a challenge. You're doing something, you're not getting the answer. That is one challenge. You're doing the publication, you are writing the paper that is not getting accepted is another challenge. And my part was also like, I have done something, I want to do it on hardware. That is another challenge. So there were a lot of challenges, but with continuous collaboration with sir and with other people also, so I was able to overcome those challenges.
That's great to hear. So, sir, what were your responsibilities as a supervisor and mentor?
In case of the Himani, it was quite easy just to make her work as much as possible. But as a mentor, it is for the PhD or even for the B.tech or M.tech, it's always a challenging part because personally, most of faculty here are quite young. So we are not trained to manage the students, or that is a learning. Without experience, you can't learn how the students work or how to motivate them. So that is always a challenge, and we are still working on it. But as a PhD student, usually doing the PhD is not that difficult because someone who works on the 4 years, like 6 hours a day for each topic, you are bound to get good publications, or you are bound to come with the novel algorithm. But the challenge comes when you want to stand out, right? Because you need to make sure that you not only publish the work, but you demonstrate it, you make sure that you get it working in the real environment. And there you need to keep on motivating the student, make sure that the students are you show that you are not satisfied with the work, so the student get motivated to demonstrate it. So that is the challenge. And at the end also, you need to have a grants or the funding or collaboration to provide those necessary resources to the student, because those students are capable of doing anything, but unless they have the appropriate resources, which are a bit costly, you need to keep on looking for the grants. So that is the one challenge we are still trying to understand how to sort it out, and how to make use of the student like you, B.tech, M.tech student, so that we motivate them and then they help the PhD student. So overall, student management is a challenge. Technical part we usually sort out over the time, but the how to motivate the student, that's one thing I'm still learning about that.
A
Yes, sir.
significant part of being a PhD student at IIIT Delhi is taking up the role of teaching fellow or teaching assistant. So, how do these experiences help you grow as a person and as in the academic perspective as well?
Being a teaching fellow, it's a good experience actually. Before that, we are just doing the study. Okay, but once we teach someone else, okay, whatever you are studying, you need to go into more detail because people ask the questions that you haven't think of. So like teaching, I can say teaching is a if you want to learn more, you should do teaching. Okay, you will go into the depth because you all are from triple IT Delhi, you have very good mind, so you ask very good questions, so teaching fellow help you to grow technically very strongly, like you get very strong background of that area. So I have been teaching fellow of a digital circuit and system. I was in opticals also. I in signals and system teaching fellow. I was, and yeah, even in my PhD, I was teaching fellow of the FPJ courses. So yeah, it was very good experience for me and personal. That is the professionally, and in the personal level, you will get the skills of how to interact with the crowd. So that is one of the important skills you will get. Otherwise, if you don't interact, stand in front of the crowd and tell them, you will hesitate initially. But it will grow if you give if you're daily standing in front of the people and teaching them, okay, so it will give you confidence as well. Now you can stand on the podium and deliver a lecture. So it's a, one good personal skill I got.
As Sumit sir mentioned earlier, that winning a grant actually helps a lot into your research work. And you also won in 2017 National Instruments Academic Research Grant for $2,000 for a research proposal, Sub-Nyquist sampling and machine learning based automatic modulation classifier testbed for multi-carrier waveform. What does it mean to win a major grant like this at the initial phase of a PhD journey, and how did it help you?
For this travel grant, I got it in the initial year. That's what you said. It's correct. So, as Sumitsa also mentioned earlier, initially I wrote the papers, but papers got rejected. So if it is happening for around 1.5 year of writing a paper, you will feel the motivation level goes down drastically. You even start doubting your area, like whether you are doing it right or wrong. It is not useful, but that was the grant which gave me a ray of hope. Okay, I'm doing something which is, which others also recognize, because it's a award, and it is international award. Okay, so I felt good when I received that award. It was very motivating to get that award to me.
Ma'am, as you told earlier, like you attended the University of Luxembourg and SNT Interdisciplinary Center as a visiting research student. So, how did you come across this opportunity and what were your major takeaways from this experience?
So I came across this opportunity from Sir only, Sumit Sir only. He has very good collaboration. So I got this opportunity, like Sumit Sir had the collaboration, then we had the interaction. They liked what I wanted to do there. So there was like complete mix of their interest and our interest. So that's how I got the opportunity there. And it is quite a good experience, because whatever I thought I will do there, I did there actually, and I got the results. So that is one of the big achievement of my PhD, because without that internship I won't be able to do the hardware analysis of what I was doing software in MATLAB. So that is a very big achievement for me, and lot of challenges came that part that way also, because when you do when you propose the algorithm, you won't be able to see what would be the practical issues. Even if you are aware of, you will get those issues, you don't know what is the procedure to remove that. And even if you know the procedure to remove that, you don't know what would be the hardware connection, because if phase offset is coming, okay, phase offset will come, but how you will remove that? You need to make the length of all the cables correct. You need, so that is, one of the good takeaway when you do the things practically. So that is what I learned there. And yeah, got the results finally.
That is really good to hear, Dr. Mani. So, sir, the following questions are for both of you. So, what will be your advice to students who want to build a career in the EC domain?
So I don't restrict the student to the EC as such. The first thing is that the student need to identify a couple of areas like what they want to work on, and it will not happen in a one day or something. From the second year onwards, you will pick up the two, three areas, and based upon your interest as well as bandwidth matching with the faculty wavelength matching, you will decide that okay, these are the couple of areas I want to work on. One of them might be EC, a couple of them might be EC, or it depends on, because it's an interdisciplinary field. But I think the student need to take those couple of areas, make sure that they do the all the relevant courses in that domain. And also at the end, student need to have a good balance between the theory and the experiment. Yeah, theory is very important, and but when you augment the theory with the experimental one, you will get a lot of confidence. And for that, I usually tell a lot of students that you should do the BTP, because BTP is the something which will set you apart, because where you will be working for almost 1.5 year at the most with the faculty. as well as a research group, and you can do a lot of things. Now, B.tech students are publishing the IIIE transaction. That's a big achievement. So anything, because any B.tech student who will work on the any topic for 2 to 3 semester, he or she is bound to produce an excellent result. It's just that there are so many things are going around. You guys have a lot of priorities, so you need to make sure that you focus on the couple of areas and be dedicated to those areas. And I think it's not that challenging. And the last thing is programming. You can't run away from the programming, so you need to keep it as a regular habit of programming.
It is essential to pause between work and research. You have to do both things. So, what did you do to like relax and take your mind off work?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because as a faculty here at IIIT Delhi, right? So we already have three kind of activities going on. One is the research one, which we call it as a work. Then the teaching activity, which gives us a different kind of environment. And then we have these academic committees or administration duties where student comes up with the interesting issues, and then we try to address one. So itself, our the advantage of the faculty life is that it has a lot of features or lot of colors which we try to which keeps us on our toes. But other than the this academic life, my interest keeps on changing. Sometimes driving, sometimes stock market, sometimes moving around cricket and all those things. And my wife and my daughter keeps a watch on me. So whenever I'm watching some random video, they make sure that I stop them and play with them. So these are the things. But usually in the academic life, usually it is more, we have a lot good variety. So it doesn't feel that we are stressed out. That is the one thing. And the student like you keeps our life as interesting as possible.
I'd like to add on. When sir feels stressed, see, he switched from one topic to another.
Okay.
This is what I think.
Dr. Mani, how do you take a pause and how do you enjoy life outside of research and the professional work you carry out?
Okay, how I enjoy my life. Actually, I do work. I like sleeping, so I sleep. That's it. I also like to travel, but because of COVID, we are not able to travel much. So if I get time, I'll travel. If I don't get time, traveling is not possible. Just work and sleep. Eat, sleep.
So, sir, ma'am, what projects are you two currently working on, and what are your plans for the future?
Regarding at IIIT Delhi, we have a couple of sponsored project going on. One is in the joint radar communication receiver with Dr. Shobha. Another is the DSP sponsored on the reconfigurable intelligent physical layer. So these are the research projects are going on. Last couple of years, we have this another new interesting project which is going on the remote hardware labs because with the pandemic, it was very challenging to conduct our embedded courses in the remote environment. So we were able to deploy the system where all the hardware boards are connected to the IIIT network and student can access it remotely. So that is the project which I would like to take it further and make sure that over the next couple of years we have hardware courses which can be done from any time and anywhere. Not only the embedded but the robotics and other ECE courses. So these are the couple of projects I'm focusing on.
Dr. Mani?
Okay, so I started working on the project, a new project after my PhD. It's not very long time. So currently I'm working on the indoor small cell project in HFCL. So there we are creating a base station for the indoor environment. So there my major role is on the phi layer and initial blocks of the RF chain. And it's not about only that, we are also working on optimizing lot of parameters there, like how we can, get good data rate. That is one example. How to do all other like external the I don't know whether I should share it or not, but yeah, a lot of optimization work is going on. So it's not only like creating a base station; we are also doing R&D work there. So how to do the optimization on various parameters, in order to get good results.
It has been lovely to talk to both of you, and we are really grateful for you to join us and do this. So, any final thoughts by both of you?
So again, thank you very much. Keep coming up with the new ideas because EC department needs you, and you guys are actually working hard because it's rare for the TS, but you guys are quite working hard and keep coming up with the new ideas so that your EC department becomes as visible as possible in the outside IIIT. Thank you.
I'd
Thank
like
you.
to thank you to take my interview with Sumit sir. It's a great honor to give interview along his side.